Keep singing.
I want you to sing, champ. I want that to be a
had-
regular segment on the show.
All right, what's the
Just
song this
bursting
week?
into
Give me
random
a song. I'll burst it out.
Well, you're doing a pretty great rendition of "Come and Get Your Love."
Come and get your love. That's the only lyric I know of the song.
Oh shoot!
This has become a real issue for me, that I've realized as time's gone on that I only know one line of 99% of the songs that I listen to.
Sounds about right.
I guess that shows how important the music is.
I'm never listening to the lyrics. It like just never happens. And then when I actually do go back and listen to lyrics, I'm like, whoa, that was so like poignant and meaningful. And then I just forget about it completely.
Hey, so I think we're all going to be in Minneapolis, right? Is that a for sure thing?
I got my tickets.
Champ, you're coming?
Officially this morning, I retrieved my tickets from
Awesome.
from the great Tim. Thank you, Tim. You are the man.
We're
Thank
all
you, Tim.
going to be together, guys, in one
Yes, all
state
5
and
of
city.
us.
Mm-hmm.
The entire GG crew.
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Epic. Nice.
If I
I'm
told
looking
you,
forward to meeting you guys.
yeah, if I told
me
you
too.
that I didn't know where Minneapolis was, would you believe me?
I would. I
Yes,
would
no-
absolutely believe
no one
you. You're
cares
from New
about the
Jersey, so
Midwest.
of course you want to know where that
There's
is.
other places besides New Jersey in the United States of America.
Yeah, there's New York and Pennsylvania.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're from New Jersey. Of course you don't think there's other
They cover
states.
they cover me. They block me from all the other states.
It's okay. I remember when I came to El Paso, somebody's like, hey, when they gave me my orders for where I was going to be stationed, they're like, you're going to El Paso, Texas. I'm like, I'm going to Mexico? I completely ignored the Texas part.
I think I would have said the same thing.
I'm
Damn,
like,
bro.
I really thought I was going to Mexico. I pretty much am, but... So I feel you on that, champ. I just knew Florida was like a state somewhere out in the ether. That's all I knew, because I just knew everybody from New York went to Florida at some point when they retired. That's all I knew.
That's it. Yeah.
I was watching a video. You guys know that YouTube channel, Good Mythical Morning?
Oh yeah,
Red and Link. Yeah, they were doing a video where they were trying to pinpoint all of the what are they called, the capitals of each of the states. But first they had to put where the states were, and I knew I'm being completely realistic here. I probably knew 4 capitals total, and the fact that they not only knew like half the capitals but also knew where to place all the states just blew my mind. I probably know where to place like 12 states out of the 50. There's 50 states, right?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
2
like
of them
50?
aren't in the block.
Yeah, isn't it like 52 now or something like that?
Wait, hold on. This is the worst question ever, but I've got to ask, and I think Alan's on my side here. Is there 50 states within the mainland of USA and then the additional 2, or are those included?
I think
in
it's
the
52, but 50 are in the mainland, right?
No.
Is that
No.
right?
Okay.
Alaska and Hawaii.
William's like,
are
no,
in-
shut up. You guys are so fucking stupid.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Gaijin Geography Podcast.
You can really tell we're Gaijin.
We don't even know
Even
our own country.
Don't even know our own country.
That's why we can still be called Gaijins while in America.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're still Gaijin into other states. But anyways, welcome to the Gaijin Guys podcast, where we talk about Japanese music news and other music related things. And we do have a couple other music related things to talk about. We're gonna talk about Rick Beato's blocking. We're gonna talk about Take the Tech and the fake drummer situation, because I do have some more insight on it that I think I want to add to what Tank was saying, just adding more to it about fake drums being used in samples. So I'm excited to talk about that. We have new Hanabiye release coming out in June we're going to talk about today. And we got a bunch of K-pop stuff to talk about with Champ and Andrew. Welcoming Andrew on today, filling in for Ryan. Ryan is in Japan right now, so we're excited to talk to him later on. He might be in the chat wandering around. But yeah, so we'll just start off with, how's everyone doing this week? We'll start with you, Andrew. How's your week going?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Super busy, real life work, keeping me real busy. The fun joy of being an IT professional. Some of you may know about that. It's always an interesting challenge. But other than that, I've been working on our website, gaijinguys.com, trying to build it up as a platform for us and all you guys to get more information about the J-Rock news and K-pop stuff and just all sorts of stuff that we cover here. So yeah, I'm excited to build that up, and that's been keeping me pretty busy. So we're going to be looking at expanding that and doing more and getting more stories out there for everyone.
Oh, we just got a confirmation from Laura Vardor. He said 50 states, 48 in the continental U.S. Yes, that's what they call it, and then plus Alaska and Hawaii. Why did I think 52? I wonder why the number 52 came to my brain.
Because the two just feel like they stand apart from the others. But yeah, we shouldn't have had to need confirmation on that. We are very dumb.
Yeah, thank you for the confirmation. He is our fact checker officially as of right now. Chant, what about you, man?
My week was probably the least interesting week you could possibly get. I took my life and I removed it from where I am right now. I just got back last night, and I went and stayed in a solitary cabin-like home for the last week with very poor internet. And so after the first day, I just gave up on the internet completely. So I kind of lived in non-internet world for the last like 6 days,
Treat.
which was I was sick. I had the diverticulitis, and I'm still kind of in recovery mode with that. But I gotta tell you, man, like it was refreshing to say the least. Like I've been really coming up on that, like, God, I hate the internet part. Every once in a while you go through that like cycle and you like hit that moment and you're just like, fuck the internet. I want nothing to do with this right now. Everything on here is awful, right? And I was actually presented with the opportunity to take that up, so I did, and I'm back now. I'm cool. I'm getting back into the internet and stuff.
Good for you,
like,
man.
It was nice to get that to get that reprieve. Like seriously, I really suggest that everybody do that like once a year. Just take like 5 days away from the complete like the screens encapsulating everything and like just reading the news on Twitter and all that shit that just like it ruins your life. Just take 5 days away from it.
Unplug and go touch some grass.
Does it?
Yeah, exactly.
See the blue sky out there.
Exactly. And they had like a garden over there too. And like, I don't have a garden in my house, but I was just like, just the idea of like going outside and watering the garden was like a nice kind of like daily routine that I got into, enjoying the outside.
BM's got a point here. He said there are cabins in New Jersey.
Yeah. See, the thing that people don't know about New Jersey is that New Jersey, you could just drive like 10 minutes away from any area and hit like a new terrain, right? Like you go from like the forest, like the woodlands, over to like disgusting city area in like a 10-minute drive. And yes, cabins are one of those things that you can find randomly throughout the course of the
Radio Rafa said, without internet, did you know what state you were in?
I didn't need to know what state I was in. That was the great part about it. Who
Could have
gives
been
a
in
fuck?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, it could have been anywhere. It didn't matter to anybody. I was just sitting out there until Wednesday night hit. And being in New Jersey, we had the same issue that New York had, where the Canadian wildfires had spread entirely into our state. So I couldn't physically leave the house for the last 2 days on Thursday and Friday, which was awful, bro. Like you just opened the door, it just smelled like burning tires everywhere. The sky was orange. It was crazy. It looked like the apocalypse.
Oh,
Wade,
man.
did you see any of that? Were skies kind of orangey over you?
They were actually 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a lot worse than it was this past week. We had a lot of just smoke everywhere, and like I had this constant headache, and I think that's why. It's because there was smoke in the air. Anyone know what's actually going on in Canada? Like, I don't keep up with the news.
So there
very
was a
much anymore.
fire. There's fires going on that are spreading through because I'll be in New York next week. My daughter's graduation. I can't believe that. She's graduating high school.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe that much time has passed already.
Congrats, Dad.
Yeah. So my sister fly me out next week, so I'm going out there for a graduation. But yeah, my buddy Joey was telling me there's like it's completely cloudy in Syracuse, New York. Like can't even see the sun or whatnot. That's what he said. And they're saying it's going to be there for a while. I don't know how long. Has it started clearing up yet, or anyone heard about that?
In Canada?
Yeah,
I doubt
it's
it.
still going. Yeah, because it's going right over New York, right over central New York.
It just cleared up in New Jersey yesterday. So like yesterday was the first day where like going outside didn't smell like gas anymore. But like I have to say, like these are wildfires. They just like happen unless you're a conspiracy theorist and you think there's a bunch of arsonists running around Canada. But these are wildfires. They just happen like when it gets hot out over there and shit like that. So it's not even like this is the only time that it could happen this summer.
it's confirmed. Multiple arsonists, I believe. No, I was kidding. I'm kidding.
Just stupid people with lighters.
I
Don't know what to
love
do.
the idea of like 5 guys running through Canada with like lighter and pieces of paper and throwing them on
You know
top of
what?
leaves.
Hey, when I was in high school, I was definitely one of those people that would set a lot of things on fire. There was one time, there's this, we were skipping school, and there's this thing you go up, and it's like goes up into this trees or mountains or whatever. You walk the sidewalk, and we started a fire on the sidewalk. So it could be possible. We got so scared, we like put it out. We actually had like the firefighters called on us and everything. Got in a lot of trouble.
Why am I not?
I'm not surprised. You're not allowed to light things on fire.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
like one of
live
those
so much
things
life.
they teach you when you're young.
So kids, do not do that. Do not start fires in the middle of a forest. Not smart.
Yeah, not a good idea. Even though America's 4th of July is coming up soon, and some stands have been opened up selling fireworks, but when I was a kid, we would hide the fireworks in the bathroom because teachers never seemed to look in the boys' bathroom for the
Shoot them
fireworks.
down the
so-
toilet.
Oh man.
Yeah, cherry bombs down the toilet. Yeah.
Everyone's on top of with these comments today, man. Pollution in New Jersey, how novel. Laugh my ass off.
That was what's funny is that was actually one of my main fears. I was like, as soon as this smoke from Canada hits the sewage smell of Secaucus, New Jersey, they are going to combine to create the next COVID. Like, this is going to be a terrible virus that is going to kill everybody.
Oh my god.
I've never heard of Secaucus, but that does sound like
It's
a
like,
place that smells like
Secaucus is the town where you have to drive through in order to get to the train, or in order to get to the airport, and it literally just smells like rotten eggs like the whole time. Like it's
I heard that's where the
sounds
New York
horrible.
Mafia buries bodies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Probably
have to
watching
give them
too
a
many-
call.
Are there
I'm not
sulfur
sure.
Crazy
deposits there?
Probably it's like an industrial complex, I guess. I don't know.
Wave, how was
I
your
don't
week?
know the science of it.
Wave, how was your week, man?
It was good. It was a roller coaster. I mean, as you know, Alan, that new Ren song came out this
Oh,
week,
God.
so there's a big emotional hunk in there, and really appreciate your video on that too. Just opening up, being
After the podcast that I
Super
did, man, I did nothing for 24 hours. I just laid out on the couch. Was hoping to heal better because I was still wrecked with that. Yeah. I was supposed to put up so
Yeah.
many videos and I didn't. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you
No, I
should do
don't-
that sometimes though, Alan.
yeah,
Like,
especially
you
when you're
should,
dealing with pain.
yeah, you
Like,
should take that to the
adds
heart.
so much more to depression and stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you were talking about in that video too about how much just constant comments from the internet get to you. Like when you're posting videos to YouTube and you're getting thousands of opinions every day, just like in your face, and the majority of them are super nice, and then you get those ones that just eat away at you and stuff.
Yeah.
And like just going along with Champ's thing, I think we all could use regular detoxes from the internet.
See, and that's when I first started off, and hopefully people got that warning. If you're doing content creating, you know, I thought I had a pretty thick skin. I thought it was pretty good, but I guess it just gets in there somehow, and you don't realize it's getting in there. You're like, oh, it doesn't bother me, but obviously it does if you're talking about it, right? So it's definitely better with it now, like 100%. But it took like 2 years to get used to it. So I think that's something that might be overlooked, or that's why you see a lot of creators quit and they don't mention it. You ever watch those certain creators, like even with reaction channels, there's a lot of people that just stop. There's
They
tons
just
of people
disappear.
that quit.
They don't even say
Yeah.
anything. They're
They
not
don't
like
say
I'm
anything.
done. It just goes away. Yeah.
Yeah, just go away. So that's like the first thing that like I think some content creators fight with first, or sometimes they're already thick skinned and they're already able to do it. I don't know. You would think for me, I thought I'd be used to it because of how I grew up. So I was like, you'd think you would be, but I guess not. You know,
I think
so,
because it's so constant and so many different people. Like for me, if I make one little screw up in a video and I already know, but I post it anyway because it's a first time reaction, you can't really re-record those. So you post something you know you did something stupid in, and then you get a comment about it, and you get that same comment from like 200 different people, and you're like, yeah, I know. By the 200th time you get it, you're like, man, I just suck at this.
You know what I just realized? You know what I just realized, Wave? What I think it was in school, I could fight back. Like I would get into fights. I would like somebody said anything, I was always fighting back. So I think at some certain point they can't say anything. But on the internet, you can't really fight back. It's like there's no conclusion. It's just like up in the air. You know? I think that's what it is actually the difference. maybe.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you're the content creator, you come off as petty when you fight back with the comment section.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like you're meant to be like you're supposed to be like psychologically speaking, I guess you're supposed to act as the bigger person in that situation.
Yeah.
But like we're
Yeah.
just normal people, just like the commenters. So
Yeah.
so sometimes it does get really difficult
seems like,
not to.
Too, it's human nature that we sort of get focused on the negative because that's part of our inner brain's sort of thinking.
Mhm.
Like, and I'll write like a really good article. I'm like, oh, I nailed it. And then I'll see a comment, hey, you had a comma splice there. I was like, I'll never have a comma splice again.
Anyways,
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Taking it as constructive criticism and
Yeah.
improving.
Wave, back to your
Yeah.
week though, man. How was your week? Sorry, kind of derailed you there.
Oh, it's no worries. Other than that, like, had some fun live streams, discovered some more cool new music, which I can't remember the names of right now. But Ryan showed up in my stream, and we want to start talking about some smaller Japanese bands that we've been hearing about, which not this week because we already got a packed program. But when Ryan's back, that'd be fun to start highlighting some of these really small, like less than 1,000
Yeah.
subs bands. that
Yeah,
are
we did
really
it.
Good.
We did it last week, Wave. So we're
Yeah,
down to do it again.
saw
So
that.
so if you want to talk about it right now, go for it. Do you have a list ready or?
Oh no,
Oh, okay, okay.
no,
What-
but
He will next week now that
Next
he's brought
week,
this
okay.
up though, huh?
Yeah.
well, I want to wait for Ryan to get back because he is a huge fan of another band, Gordon, that I'm also a huge fan of. and
Which
I
band
kinda
are you guys
wanna-
a fan of?
Gordon?
Oh, Gordon. Oh, it's called Gordon. I thought you were like it was some other random person named Gordon that you and Ryan like.
Gordon Ramsay. But anyway, I mean, that's all I can remember from my week right now. So how's your week, Alan?
Oh, I was doing really well. I had everything pretty going well. Then the Ren reaction and stuff, and I don't know, man. Just everything caught up to me yesterday, and I was finally feeling pretty good, I guess you could say, to a certain extent. I was on top of everything, and then kind of just like checked out yesterday. So I've been kind of off the internet also for not to be just like just laying down pretty much. But I did get a lot done. I have like 4 Avenged Sevenfold reactions. I really love the new album. I recommend it to people if you like progressive stuff. I really like it. It's really
Wait,
fun
what?
for me to listen to. The new Avenged Sevenfold album. So I have a bunch of breakdown videos already done, ready to go. I can't wait to share it with people. It's really cool. Split up the tracks and doing my thing as I normally do. So
Cool.
those are really cool. Working on a new cover with Nam. It's almost done. So getting those. We got Wave Potter who's joining us too on that track, doing bass.
Sweet.
Can't wait to share that with you guys. So actually I'm filming some drum parts right after this. So can't wait to get that cover out soon. That's pretty
Does
much
the new
it.
Avenged Sevenfold sound more like their old music or their newer music?
It's new. It's new Avenged
Well, I know
Sevenfold.
the album is
No.
new, but-
I mean, it sounds nothing like any of their other stuff. That's what I
Okay.
love about it. Like, it has pieces of their other things, and of course, you have the classic M Shadow's vocals on it. To me, I think he's really underrated as a unique vocalist. He is such a unique vocalist because nobody sounds like him. I was doing a reaction to the first song, Game Over, and I'm like, dude, nobody sounds like this guy. Like, he just makes whatever riff he's singing over interesting just because of his tone of voice. Rather you hate
he's
it or
got
like it, it's
like
so unique.
a gruffness to his voice that kind of makes me think of like Lemmy from Motorhead, just that
Yeah.
sort of raw, just from the gut kind of,
Yeah.
power.
The only
Yeah,
thing I can think of is like Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace. That super powerful grit.
Yeah. But
I think-
you know how with 3 Days Grace you still can come up with some vocalists that are kind of similar, There's just something about M Shadow's voice that's like you can't copy it. Like I don't even know how you'd go about copying his voice. You have those vocalists.
I think you'd have to, like Andrew said, you'd have to have that gruffness of Lemmy, and then you'd have to whine as much as you possibly can, and then you get the M Shadow's voice.
I think you're thinking of one similar type of voice by M
I'm
Shadow,
not
so.
insane.
He just, to me, I agree entirely. He's got a completely unique voice, and I actually really like a lot of Avenged Sevenfold stuff.
I thought you were gonna say
But
you
come on,
didn't
you
like
can't
Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, no, I think especially their older stuff. I love their first 2 albums. And then what was the one that got them popular? The one with the harlot and
Beast and the
Beast and
Harlot.
Harlot.
Beast and
City
the
of
Harlot on
Evil
that.
album.
That one, I really like that album too.
Album's really good.
But come on, you can't tell me it doesn't sound like he's crying while he's singing throughout half the song.
He uses that nasally voice. I can hear it. He could have done punk rock if he wanted to. He has a very good punk rock voice. Honestly, I think he could have done any style of music. I think he could have done any style of music. He would have sounded unique over it. Because back then, there's so many metalcore bands that came out, and that was the only thing that separated you. So you had Lamb of God, the most interesting screams. Nobody sounds like that dude, you know? And then you had Avenged Sevenfold at the time. You had All That Remains. That was pretty different for its time because it was so technical underneath. Like during that boom of metalcore bands, I was obsessed with all of them. At the time, you had Shadows
Me
Fall.
too. They were all so good.
Yeah, and it was just amazing, and like, it was so cool to see Avenged Sevenfold be the one band that stood out from all of them, and like now they're where they're at now. They're the only ones really that like, you know, came up later. Because later on, you had Bring Me the Horizon. You had like the second wave, right? You had the other wave of metalcore bands that came afterwards. But the first initial one, As I Lay Dying too. But you know, they kind of faded off. Avenged Sevenfold like is like big status, you know, like they really went up there, you know. Kill Switch, yeah. Kill Switch was another one from that era. But anyways,
and then they kind of started to drift into the whole like they started playing together. Those bands started playing together with like the Swedish and Finnish death metal bands that would come over here, like Children of Bodom and In Flames, and all them, Dark Tranquility. It was such a great combination. Those metalcore bands over here and the Swedish death metal bands and Finnish death metal bands.
They're the only bands that could like have. They're the only band that could have like interesting music on the radio. Because Avenged Sevenfold was on the radio, and you're like, wow, this is really technical for the radio. Like
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. See, I kind of felt I kind of viewed them similarly when I first heard them to like System of a Down, how it was like this heavy and fast like metal music, but it was kind of like more appealing to mainstream people more than most other stuff. Avenged Sevenfold in the beginning wasn't like that though. Like if you listen to their first two albums, they were pretty much just like a metal band. But then they started to they found their voice, I think, in the Backcountry album. And then it allowed them also for him to, he didn't have to scream as much. So he's been able to, with that sound, that creative, the unique voice that he has been able to like kind of almost reinvent them as time has gone on. To keep them relevant, you know. So I do give them a lot of credit for that.
I may be super normie, but I still like Hail to the King.
Yeah,
you know that one just always.
That's an album I never listened to. I stopped listening to them after the self-titled album. So I was telling people like that have checked out my new Avenged Sevenfold reactions. If you guys want me to go back to older albums, I can, because I actually never listened to Hail to the King. I only listened to that song, like the self-titled song, but I never listened to the album. So.
Yeah, honestly, the only reason I know Avenged Sevenfold is because I covered that song "I'm Not Insane" and "Beast and the Harlot" with one of my friends, and those are the only two I've ever heard.
Which were all great songs.
I have a lot to catch up on.
I think you would like Backcountry, by the way. I think you should check out just the song Backcountry. It's really, really good.
Just check out City of Evil, the whole album.
The album is awesome. It's a really, really clever, unique album.
That's the album that Beast and the Harlot's on, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, I want to say, hey, Ryan, welcome to the chat. We got Ryan in the chat. As you guys all know, I mentioned earlier, he's in Japan right now. I can't wait to hear his report. He's going to see Asterism, it seems like, first, so that's really cool to see. Can't wait to hear your report on everything, Ryan. I'm super excited just to have you on and talk about all that news. And Ryan, if you missed it, we're all going to be together in Minneapolis. So, Cam just confirmed that. But I just want to go ahead and mention today's sponsor of the video, Diana Laura. She does custom brass designs, and you can have her make anything you want. Just hit her up, contact her. She has a contact thing at the top, DianaLaurenDesigns.com. She'll make anything for you. She has a shop, too, with stuff that's already made. You can see stuff that she's made for other people already. And go check it out, guys. Like, she has, like, some really cool stuff on here. And let's get into the first article. So, Wave, take it off. So, Wave's going to talk about Rick Beato's latest video about blocking. I know Rick Beato always talks about blocking constantly, and he mentions in the video why he keeps bringing it up, and I think it is very important to keep bringing it up for older bands to hopefully catch on, stop blocking people, and actually get people to watch their music. But anyways, I'm gonna let Wave take it away. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is a topic that I've been kind of really, thinking about a lot lately. Is the topic of classic rock bands, sharing them with new generations, helping immortalize their music because they had such a massive impact on the rock music we have today, And so when uh, for me personally, it was a close subject because when I did my Pink Floyd reaction, there was a huge chunk of comments that were like, "You've never heard of Pink Floyd? There's no way you're a rock musician." And I kind of started thinking about that. Like, you treat people who haven't heard Pink Floyd before like this, how are it's gonna decrease the number of people who actually want to listen to them. And what was that?
No. Go ahead.
Was
Sorry,
that
that was
Rick?
my fault. That was my fault. My fault. Go ahead.
And slowly over time, they're just going to keep shrinking, and peter out.
Can I
Because
insert something?
In
real
100
quick?
years, there's going to be a whole new set of people on Earth.
Can I insert something real quick to what you're saying? You brought up a really good point. I never even thought about the fans are doing the same thing that the blockers are doing, technically, right?
Yeah.
Is what you're getting at,
Well,
kind of?
Yeah, just a small minority of them. But like, because that Pink Floyd video, got so many views, it had a lot of those comments like, "You're not a rock musician." And I was like, okay, why would I want to do another reaction to it? But that said, we know like
Gatekeeping.
reactions have such a huge impact on music spreading now, and fans of that music uniting, getting together, and also sharing new bands, new music with people. And taking that and then listening to Rick Beato's new video here, he mentions a lot of interesting stuff about bands that are blocking reactions, and also something Marty Friedman said when they were riding in the car that he didn't mention during the interview, but I thought was the perfect way to explain this. So now just let Rick take it away. Just like 2 minutes to 7 minutes, I think it's just a section. If that's cool with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. I got it. Just tell me what to end it. I got it right here.
Nearly 13.5 million monthly listeners. That tells you that Jimi Hendrix isn't even close to that at 9.3 million. He's probably not in the top 1,000. That's hard to imagine, right? And I've said this before, that Jimi Hendrix is being forgotten. Same with AC/DC, and I think the same with the Beatles. When I started my channel, when I would mention the Beatles, people loved Beatles videos. They did. I'm a huge Beatles fan.
I'm obsessed with Rick Beato videos on YouTube.
Wait, who's this?
Rick Beato.
I don't know who that is.
He's a music producer. He's a Beatles fan, so there's a shit ton of Beatles in there. But
Renee hates it when I talk about the Beatles. Now, some bands retain their coolness even if they haven't released a record, like Nirvana or ABBA, 27.8 million monthly listeners. Huge. Queen. Huge. And they've done it either without their lead singer. Kurt Cobain has been gone since 1994. That's almost 30 years. But when Kurt Cobain died, he was immortalized at 27 years of age. The thing is that kids really connect with the music. But do kids necessarily connect with the Beatles? I don't think so. I know why the Eagles will be forgotten. Their blocking policy is ridiculous. Don Henley seems to think it doesn't work.
The notice and takedown system of the DMCA does not work.
Trust me, any Eagles video will get taken down immediately. The net effect of blocking people from actually talking about their music or even doing tutorials on the Eagles, just like you cannot do tutorials on Guns N' Roses. Otherwise, they will block you. What is the sense in that? As time has moved on over these 7 years, I've noticed the Beatles' influence waning. People in the comment section, oh, I don't want to hear about the Beatles.
And I just want to mention, so yeah, because it shocks me, like, Wave, when I ask you about some bands that you don't know. And like, I think I use you as an example of yes, there's some people that don't know some of the bands, because I guess I was pretty ignorant into assuming that people would just know like Jimi Hendrix or like I brought up the Beatles to someone. They're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, I was fucking shocked. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Who's that?" I was like, "It was Steppenwolf too." It was like another one. I don't think they get blocked, but just in general, they're being forgotten about since nobody's like talking about them or whatnot. And
yeah, and just to hear the other side, like, I would be shocked too if someone didn't know who the Beatles were, because they were one of the most formative bands to me. They were the first classic rock band I ever heard.
So
sorry to interrupt.
I want to throw something in there too. So I have so many thoughts on this, but I'm going to try my best to hold on to most of them until the end of this. But before he moves on from this, I just want to say there's this element where I completely agree with everything that he's saying so far. By the way, I just want to throw that out there. But what I've come to notice is that it's not just down to what how the music is being gatekeeped or the blocking and stuff like that. I've found that there is a genuine disinterest from my son's generation in exploring that music anyway. So while I agree that what he's saying it is affecting it negatively, like the ability to keep these bands around, I honestly don't know how much it would change, even if there was like this huge explosion of being allowed to hear anything that you want on YouTube and no blocks, no copyrights, nothing like that. I am not sure that there would even be that much of a dramatic difference in what the current
I think
generation would be listening to.
I think there would be actually, champ, because for example, it was that famous bassist, right? He's on the younger end, right? Right Wave. I can't remember his name. He's like an amazing bassist who did like a cover of, I think it was Hotel California, and he did it completely.
Oh yes,
bass.
Charles Bertown.
He has a lot of young audience that would go check out the.
And those people are already listening to rock music. Those people have already explored. They've already gone down the path. They know who Guns N' Roses is. They know who Led Zeppelin is.
But at least somebody's listening to
you'd think that, but look at all the stuff I don't know. Yeah. Even though I've been in the rock music scene for 20 years.
You've heard of Guns N' Roses, though.
Well,
like if I asked you if you knew who Led Zeppelin was,
listens to, did you share with them?
All of it, like all the rock stuff.
He has you to share with him.
Yeah, but that's not going to change parents. Like parents, if they want to show their kids that music, they're doing that already. Like the idea that things are getting blocked or gatekept is not preventing the parents from showing the children the music that they loved.
I think the point is like, for example, I've been doing some more hip hop stuff, which has been pulling in audiences from a different realm, and if they're a fan of you, they're going to listen to the other music you listen to, so that's why you get that cross-pollination. Like
that's true. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't change at all. I'm just saying that I think it would be more minimal than we're thinking right now. And I'm going to stop now because we're going to talk about this a little bit later when we go into the other video that we're talking about.
Well, I just want to say, champ, to your point, you make a good point there, because growing up as a kid, I got some of my musical influence from my parents. You know, their records and cassette tapes, me and my brother would listen to those. So I think a lot of this is actually, there is that component of the generational factor, you know, what your friends, what your parents listen to influences you. But now that we live in this digital age, what I'm seeing from some of these older bands, and it even happens in Japan, we've seen this with a lot of the Japanese companies, it's really that old guard of the business. They don't quite understand what it is that's happening here, and they just think, oh, that is a potential loss of revenue, so we got to shut it down. I don't think the lawyers, especially who work in the industry, I don't think they see how there's a monetary upside to this, because sometimes I'll ask some industry insiders, and you really kind of have a mix between, there's marketing people who are like, yeah, we love it, reactions are great. But then you got the legal department who's like, nope, shut it down, we're losing money, shut it down. You know, so you have that fighting that's going on with some of these artists and their labels.
That's really funny,
I agree with that also.
They copyright claim all of the reactions and they get the revenue from them. So if they're not getting it from the original music video, they're still getting it from all the reactions.
Yeah, like,
dude, I wonder how much of a conversation there actually is, how much communication there actually is between like management, YouTube copyright people, like the band themselves. Like how many levels does it have to go through to get to the band that they know exactly how much revenue they're getting from everything? You know what I mean? Like they have third parties handling a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I doubt they're even hyper aware of the upside or the downside in allowing, you know, stuff to go
it's
through.
like, I was talking about this just recently, like Band-Maid's like crushing it because everybody films their shows and stuff and they get a share of all those little videos. So guys, that's such a great way to support the band, especially since you know Band-Maid won't block it. That's a really good example of a band that is just like capitalizing it. So post every single Band-Maid video you have, because they're going to get a cut, which is amazing. And the more you guys watch it, the more I was thinking about that the other day. That's what they're probably super excited to come back to the US also, is they're going to have even more exposure that way. And they're like doing it perfectly. You know, I think it's just the right way to go about it. Where there's some other Japanese bands like Maximum Hormone, somebody mentioned in the chat, you know, they block some of their videos, and it's insane, you know.
But they are young enough. See, the problem that I have with like them is that they are young enough and aware enough of the upside of the revenue stream that comes through the copyright claims on YouTube that they should be able to know better.
No,
you know, I don't blame like the Eagles. You know, they don't know. They're old. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
Do they not have kids? Do they not have children?
Well, I'm sure that they do, but like, listen, though, I'm 37 and I'm done learning new shit. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like 70 and I've been playing music and making money the same way through that career, like for the last 40 years, I don't know how much I'm paying attention to like YouTube copyright claims.
Champ, you're right. You're right. Because for me, I'm not done learning shit. I've always been in the mindset.
I was just joking about that, but you know what I'm saying.
I believe you. I believe you though. We just found out about 48 states in the continental U.S. Okay.
See, we learned.
Yeah, we got to keep learning.
We learned.
Can't stop learning.
Let's get back to
you got to learn something new every day. You really do. I mean, it's what life is all about, realistically speaking.
Right.
Like Rick Beato's channel, except he always talked about the Beatles. I never thought the Beatles would go out of style. And people think that Guns N' Roses won't go out of style or AC/DC, but they will. They will. There's too much new music out there that young people want to consume that is made by their contemporaries, by other young people. I had Marty Friedman in here recently, and something he said to me when I was driving him down to his show that he didn't say in my interview with him. He said, you know, new music is just getting newer and old music is getting older. And I said, Marty, why didn't you say that in the interview? He said, because I just thought of it. He's so right. New music is getting newer, meaning there's constantly new things coming out by contemporary artists, by young artists. And the further this music gets in the past, you can't even make enough videos about this. And it kind of gets to a point.
Going to Champ's point, pretty much exactly what Champ was saying. In essence,
it's just so busy out there. You know what I mean? Like they have the last 20 years to work through before they get to the last 30 years and the last 40 years. While like when we look back at like learning what classic rock was when we were teenagers or whatever, that was like 20 to 30 years ago. But I mean, now it's what, 50, 60 years ago? Like they got decades of music
and now with the internet
now.
Yeah, but now with the internet and like for us, we're listening to all this Japanese music now. It's like almost impossible to keep going back, right?
Oh yeah,
you
can't even keep up with new Japanese music.
That's the thing. Like I want to listen to all the new music that comes out in the like Japanese metal and rock world, but I've missed out still on so much of their past music. Like I don't have the time to catch up on all that shit. So I get where they're coming from and why it's difficult for the new generations to want to go all the way back. I want to say too, area.
With all the music that I've been listening to now, it's actually affected my listening of older music that I want to listen to. There's some older music I used to listen to, I just don't anymore. Like Korn's a great example. I have no interest in listening to any Korn songs, which I used to love that band, but I can't go back and listen to them. I'm like done. You know what I mean? It's just interesting. Or like Limp Bizkit, I just stopped listening to. So that's another thing. There's some older bands that I'll keep listening to.
But give that another 5-10 years and you might want to go back and listen to it again.
I don't know.
Because the nostalgia will hit you.
Yeah, but only for like one or two songs. I'm not going back like, oh, let me listen to the whole album. You know what I mean?
Bro, I showed my son Limp Bizkit's the one with break stuff and Nookie on it, Significant Other, and he loved it. And I was like, I'm digging this because he's digging it right now.
That's true. That's true.
Well, that's good because for me, like I was thinking about this the other day. I heard a Limp Bizkit song come on, and I was thinking, I used to like them. I'm kind of they've actually have soured on them now. I mean, I loved them back in the day. I mean, break stuff and of course when Nookie hit big. And now I'm kind of like, why did I like that? It's kind of fallen away from me. I don't.
Well, you kind of just you grow out of you listen to a genre that you like a lot, and then eventually get bored of it, and then you're like, okay, I'm in a different part of my life. It doesn't have the same sentimental value.
I call it music maturity, maybe to a certain essence. You know, like. I guess we don't think about this, but if you keep listening to new music over a period of years, you just kind of develop newer tastes and newer nuances to your taste in music compared to somebody that just only listens to one decade, like my dad. He listens to one decade and that's it. Anything out of that decade, he's like, what the hell is this? You know, it's impossible to get him out of it, you know? So I think if you're like constantly open-minded and keep introducing new music, when you go back, you're like, but there's some older bands that stand the test of time, right? Like you go back, listen to it, you're like, oh, I can still listen to this. This is still great, you know?
Yeah. Now, and I just want to be clear also, like, I'm just playing devil's advocate at this point when I say these. Like, I personally feel like I want that stuff to still exist, and I feel like I want everybody to have access to it, and I want the kids to care about it. I'm just not sure how realistic it is for all of those things to come together for any change to ever be made in that area.
Yeah, like my mom is a fan of, she grew up on Elvis Presley, and every time an Elvis Presley song comes on, I don't turn it off. I love Elvis. Maybe it's also the relation between, in fact, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and Elvis being Memphis, Tennessee. But I think it was last year or the year before last, they did a movie about Elvis, and it was unique. It was done by the director who did Moulin Rouge, and the thing about it was it presented Elvis in a way that also kind of made him hip and contemporary, and it had some contemporary newer artists doing covers of some of Elvis's song. And I mean, it was okay for me. I liked the original stuff, but at least it made me think, okay, I wonder how younger people are when they hear something from so long ago. What do they think of it?
Ryan just mentioned this in the chat. He said, Limp Bizkit's angsty teenager dumb lyrics that happen to have great musicians. Sadly, all anyone remembers is Durst, because Fred Durst knew to target the younger audience. He knew to do that because you have to target them. Because when you're in school, you're not all about the complexity of the vocals and lyrics. You want something that hits home with you. You want something that hits with your struggles when you're a kid. And that's why people remember Fred Durst, because I remember listening to Limp Bizkit. That was my outlet. I was angry. He was like the perfect person at the time. And then he had Korn and all that stuff. So I think that's why we kind of grew out of him, because when you get older, you're like, oh, I don't want to be pissed off anymore. Right.
So the question should be, if that, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so the follow up is, if that's their target demographic, the angsty teenagers back then, right? Like, if they perform that same music today for the angsty teenagers, would they have the same sort of connection to it, or do they have a different angst now? You know what I mean?
If they were the same age, if Limp Bizkit was the same age, because you got to remember, Limp Bizkit was very close to the age demographic. They were like in the early 20s. We were 16, 15, right? So to us, it's all the same. So if they were the same age, I think it would still work.
Well, I'm saying if you show Limp Bizkit's music from that exists already to a current 15-year-old kid.
No, it won't work if you look at it on the visual standpoint, because most people, when they listen to music, they see the artist and everything, and they include the visuals along with the music. So if they see some old guy singing about your teenage struggles, they're going to be like, well, I don't relate, or they're like, that connection
100%.
Is just off.
I agree.
But if
I'm with you on this.
If we took their music and made them 20 years old again and put them back, I think they would still be successful.
Because they'd have different struggles. They'd have today's struggles that they'd be able to relate to the kids. But they were talented.
Smart. Fred Durst was smart behind it all. He knew the target, that audience. He knew what the hell he was doing. He knew where the hole was in the society at the time, and he just drove it home, man. Like, he kept it simple, he kept it understandable, he kept it relatable, and then people were just like, like you said, break stuff. When you're a kid, that's all you want to do. Like I was just talking about, setting fires everywhere, right? Like, it was just really relatable. Like, I want to fucking break stuff. I'm so pissed. Like, I'm done with this shit,
It's just one of those days. Every day was one of those days, bro.
Yeah. And then but middle-aged 20-year-old dudes also had that struggle too, right? Losing jobs, trying to work. People just like were pissed off at that time period with the way that things were going. They're shutting down plants and stuff like that. So that's why they had a huge base up north, like in the Midwest and stuff, where people are losing jobs. We all forget about everything that was happening at that time when Limp Bizkit came out. It was just so relatable. You can't
definitely
get away from it. So probably get back to this video. All right.
That I always talk about with my friends, like, how well can you know an album? I was born when the Beatles were putting out their records, and I experienced them 50 years ago. I didn't have to learn the Beatles if I was born in 1990 or something and go back to music that was made 30 years before I was born, and then try to experience the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath and B.B. King and all the music that was made before I existed. Even bands like Nirvana that stopped putting out records in 1993, or maybe they did some releases later. Even that music, if I was born in 1990, would have been music really before I was even aware of the music. And one of the things about being 61 years old now is that I've had time to listen to all these things. I don't have to go back and listen to Steely Dan's records to talk about them. I listened to them 50 years ago, or any of the artists from back then. I was alive when...
And guess what? I only know about Steely Dan because of Rick Beato. I had no clue who that was, by the way. No clue.
Yeah, I know who they are, but also I know this was just making me think because I showed my son Led Zeppelin a couple weeks ago for the first time, and he couldn't listen to it because the quality of the recording was so poor. And that wasn't the first time that I heard that complaint also. And I think that that's a huge determining factor, you know,
Yep.
compared to what you hear today with the clarity.
Yeah.
Hendrix was alive. You know, I mean, I knew Jimi Hendrix's music when it was coming out. I knew the Beatles' music when it was coming out. When Stairway to Heaven was being played on the radio, it was a new song in 1971. I listened to it. Stones records, everything for back then. All the stuff that happened in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. When I talk about Gordon Lightfoot, I experienced Gordon Lightfoot when it was coming out. When I talk about Nirvana, I was 30 years old. What was I? 29 years old when Nevermind came out. I knew Bleach before that. I was in my 20s.
Was there still more you want me to play off of this wave? Or because I think he's just going to go into his
What's
thing.
it at now?
It's at 6:21. I wasn't sure what time to play to.
I think, well, I think it was up till 7. And it's
Okay.
I'm contemporaries. I'm, you know, Kurt Cobain was born in 1967. I was born in 1962. Eddie Vedder, 1964. Chris Cornell, 1963, something like that. These people are my contemporaries. The guys in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They've been putting out records since the 80s. And those records I knew back then. The blocking thing. I think people should really rethink them, those artists. I don't know any of these artists. I don't know anyone in the Beatles. I don't know anyone in AC/DC. I don't know anyone in the Eagles. I don't know anyone in Guns N' Roses. I don't know anyone in those bands. But one label that I do know that has changed their blocking policy is ECM Records. ECM Records has changed its blocking policy and gone to demonetization.
That's about it.
All right, Wave, go for it. What do you want to say?
I think I already pretty much said pretty much everything I was thinking about this video. Just, you know, I think this music's really important because it was so influential on what we have today. And had to go way back from when I was born to ever discover it. And I get the quality thing too. I used to feel the same way too, like your son, Champ. But like I feel like as you get older, you start to appreciate the authenticity more of stuff. And so at some point in his life, Led Zeppelin might be really interesting to him because they were so authentic. They were so raw. They didn't use a click track. John Bonham is an absolute monster on drums, you know, like he had just such a unique feel, and you know, they're a really influential band for like riff based music and stuff like that. So, you know, I want this music to stay alive, and there's just certain things that are happening now that I feel like are really working against that, like blocking and you know, the gatekeepers that inevitably end up in every fan base that are just like kind of nasty to new fans.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
I think that's about all I have to say.
Anything you guys want to say before we get into the Band-Maid update?
I was just going to say good point on that because, I mean, I was just thinking of something that I've always thought about with rock music is that it's like the soundtrack of the every person. It gives you music to lift you up, chill you out, bring you down. The ballads, the heavy stuff, the hard stuff, the soft stuff. It's just, it hits on so many different levels. It's whatever time, whatever phase you're in. And I'm a bit different, Wave. I'm not worried so much about gatekeepers because I think this has always been something in the industry is you've always had times when you had people come in, try to slow things down, but the music has its own life force and it gets out there. And as long as fans, you guys keep talking about it, keep sharing it, it's going to continue. We're kind of in a weird place when you look at like some of the numbers. Rock music is sort of only like a third of the market, even coming behind country music, but still it still stays there. And what's great about it, when I look at some of those stats about where rock music tracks is it cuts across a lot of demographics. So it doesn't matter who you are. So I think I'm just trying to kind of reinforce my point that I believe this is the song soundtracks, the movement that works for the working man, for the soccer moms, for everybody who just wants that to feel that rhythm, that classic hard-hitting R&B right to your gut. Rock music is there for you, no matter what particular flavor you like.
Yeah, it can literally be anything. Like, I feel like rock music has the largest variety of sounds and topics and everything of any other genre of music, because it's, you know, it's fueled by passion and really, you know, connects to the soul. And I just want to mention why this is so important to me. I know Champ made a good point, sharing music with your kids and stuff. But the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I got into my mid-20s and realized just how much music I hadn't heard. No one had shared it with me. It wasn't passed on to me. And no, I'm not the only one. So if someone isn't sharing that with you, that's why it's so important for us to keep talking about, like you mentioned, Andrew. And if we aren't able to, if they block the music, and or if they have a bad experience on their first time listening with the fan base, that's going to turn them out from that, and it's going to make them not interested in it. Because I know there's a lot of people who haven't heard a lot of these great bands. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
I agree 100%. I think that block shouldn't exist. Obviously, I just think that they should copyright claim all their music so that they can make money off of it. I really honestly don't see the upside of blocking something and blocking new fans away. But I do want to just reiterate that I'm not sure how much the bands of yesteryear are aware of this revenue stream and the possibilities that it could possibly bring. As I assume they've had their management teams and publishers and stuff taking care of this for the last 30 years for them. I don't know how much of a say they have in it themselves, or how much they've even considered it, you know? And just to finally give it off, I want to give hip hop culture a little bit of credit here, because they do keep some of these rock riffs alive by sampling them in music, and the kids go, that's a cool beat, and then find out where it comes from, and it's like, well,
Vanilla Ice.
at least that's one sort of path that they could take to get
Isn't
there.
it funny how Vanilla Ice got so much crap for that, but then like everybody does it?
Everybody does it now. Everybody does it. He should be viewed as a pioneer.
I know, right? That's what I was saying. Like, he's like technically, you guys, if you didn't know, Vanilla Ice has a really heavy metal album, which is actually pretty decent. During the new metal era, he actually came out with a heavy metal album and redid Vanilla Ice. He redid his like song. What was it called? I already forgot. He called it "Too Cold" in his remix of it, but it was pretty all heavy with screams.
Ice Baby.
Ice Baby. Yeah, he redid that song called "Too Cold," and he put a new metal spin on it. It's actually pretty good.
I know this can sound super dorky, but I saw him live, me and a college buddy of mine, after his fame had kind of died down. You know, he was like the flavor of the year when he went really big, and then it died down. But like, I was in college, and so me and a college bud went to see him. Was like, all right, we'll check out Vanilla Ice. Dude, he rocked it. I mean, he like got into like the audience, and he was just jamming with the crowd. I mean, the dude was straight up an entertainer when I saw him live. Yeah. So I was kind of surprised that after the fame, he still was just like there for the fans.
I'm not surprised, bro. I think a lot of these people that get really popular, like, and they kind of like have a gimmick or whatever, we don't really realize how talented they actually can be, you know, because they're not showing off all their talents. I mean, I remember the first time I went to see Avril Lavigne after she kind of like came out of her super popular early 2000s thing, and I was like, she went up there, she played piano, she played drums, she played guitar, she sang, she danced, she did all this shit, and I was just like, dude, like, you would have no idea if you just watched like Skater Boy, you know?
Yeah. That's why it's important to watch them live. But Band-Maid news, guys. Or Wave, you have something?
I just had one more thing I failed to mention, because I didn't get a chance to jut in there after he talked about Marty Freeman's quote about, you know, new music keeps getting newer, old music keeps getting older. And this is another reason, like, this is such an interesting question to me about, will rock and roll survive beyond, you know, 30, 40, 50 years past it when it was made? Because, you know, I guess you guys already brought this up, but we just keep getting more and more new music. And at a certain point, it's impossible to catch up on that old music because you're listening to what's current, what the people who are actually living in your time are making, and you start to lose any interest in,
Dude,
stuff
anybody
from
on
the
this
past.
podcast, name a song from the 40s. Go. Well done. Yeah. I mean,
No, I
it's
got
just
one. I
gonna
just don't know if
happen.
it's appropriate to say. No,
Say it.
Say
no.
it.
Ragtime, or that was actually kind of a genre, the ragtime. No, I mean, like I grew up like on oldie stuff. I mean, I could probably think of like some stuff from the 50s, like I mentioned Elvis. But 40s, yeah, I remember doing some of that stuff in like musicals when I was a kid. It escapes me now, but yeah, good point though. But I mean, it's like, but that was like what was pop in the 40s, and then what was popular in the 50s, 60s. I mean, you go back and look at every decade, and every decade has its flavor, the songs that stand out and represent that decade. And I think it's still true now. If you look back at the last 10 years over what was popular, it was Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, and those kinds of that type of music. But they always seem to come back to rock. And rock, it just kind of changes. It just becomes another sort of, it takes whatever is out there that's being done popular, and some artists will come along and say, oh, I can tap into this and do my version of it. So
Well,
I'm kind of hopeful that it's going to be around even long after us.
I
Cross
would say even
fingers.
beyond what's trending, what's popular, I feel like rock is a genre that doesn't need to be trendy, because trendy stuff dies off fast, and stuff that's genuine and really driven by passion is lives on a lot longer, because stuff sounds really dated if it's capitalizing on a trend from that time period in 10 years.
True. All right, chat is done with us talking about rock, so let's move on to Band-Maid news.
Yeah,
they
they're
really
gonna-
want Band-Maid news.
Mikoto's out there dying apparently.
And this
All
is
right.
why we're talking
Go
about it,
ahead.
because we have this new music.
Hey guys, we got to talk about this rock shit in order for Band-Maid to live on anyway. Like, they are part of the rock and roll genre.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna be classic rock in
it's
40
all
years.
tied together.
Hey,
All
all
right.
right. Go ahead, Andrew. Take it away.
Well, it's not really. It's new news from Band-Maid, but although I'm sure most of the Band-Maid faithful out there already knows, they made an announcement. They're going to have a best of album that's going to be dropping in August, on August 2nd, and it's a 2-volume discography of all their greatest songs. Now, I was curious to see what would be on this track list, because it's if you think about it, these are kind of the songs that the band themselves are putting out there to say, yes, we think these songs represent the best of what we've done so far in the past 10 years. And it was interesting to see some of the choices. Obviously, the big ones are on there.
Oh, the
that,
track
we
list
know
is
about.
out already?
Yeah, so it's up on their website,
Oh, sweet.
bandmaid.tokyo. You can go and look at the
I want to
latest
know
news
this
article.
too.
Yeah.
And one question that I've always been asked about Band-Maid, that I'm sure a lot of you guys get asked whenever you try to introduce a band to somebody who doesn't know them, the first question that always comes up is, well, what is their big song? What's their big hit? What's that one song? And the thing about Band-Maid is they don't have one song in particular that really defines them, but they have such a diverse catalog in their history of different type of songs that kind of get out there. And I mean, Choose Me comes close, probably because it was in the Peacemaker soundtrack. But their songs are so varied in what they've done. And the thing that sticks out to me most, obviously the big ones are on there. Domination.
Do you have the list in front of you?
Yeah, so I have it over here.
Can you just read them all off first?
Sure, let me just go through them all. All right, so in volume 1, first song is Thrill, Real Existence, Alone, YOLO, Don't You Tell Me, Daydreaming, Choose Me, Domination, Dice. And this is the one that's interesting. I wanted to talk about this one for a minute. At number 10 on the first disc is Start Over. For those of you that remember that song, the very divisive song that at that time when it came out, I'm sure a lot of you remember the kind of controversy that it was. It was more of a pop, lighter kind of song, and really kind of split the fan base. Some people started to panic, saying, oh, it's over. They're not going to be a hard rock band anymore. They're just going to do this pop stuff. I think what kind of works now that we can look back, we can see they definitely did more hard rock stuff, of course. And I think there's a bit more of appreciation for Start Over. And the other thing too about Start Over that's interesting is when you go back and look at the history on it, it was actually commercially very successful for them. It got into the top 10 on the Japanese music charts. So it was a very successful song for them. And I think it's a good thing that they included it on here, despite the kind of controversy of Start Over.
100%. And I want to also say, first of all, I like that song. It's a good song. But you're absolutely right. Looking back at the past now, I feel like so many people felt like betrayed by Metallica in the 90s when they put out Load, that they're just like hurt forever. And just like anytime a band now comes out with a song that's like supposed to be like their next single, and it's not the same as like it might be lighter or like less heavy, you know, whatever than their previous stuff, people get a little scared that that's going to be the new direction that they're going in. And it's like, I feel it now that you can look back at it and see how much other stuff they've done and how much technical and heavy stuff that they've done also. That feels more like a unique part of their discography rather than something to be scared of in the future.
Well, it just shows the diversity that they've done in their history, that they've been able to do so many different variations, not only on their own riffs and tracks that they do, but they've also been able to do songs that kind of, you know, go far astray, but then be able to pull it back. So continuing on, the next song after that's Glory, another great song. Bubble, one of my personal favorites. In the Story, of course. I could go on and on about In the Story, how great anthemic that is. Different, Warning. And then on the second disc, here's another interesting one that I'm curious to see what fans think about. It's Shake That, going all the way back to the New Beginning
Love
EP.
it.
Yeah, kind of a classic there that you wouldn't expect, but it's on the list. And then some more classic songs from their early era. Nonfiction Days, Freedom. At number 4 is one of my personal favorites. I love how progressive this one is. It's Puzzle. Puzzle is a great song off the Just Bring It album. What is interesting, though, is that if you go back and listen to Just Bring It, there's Puzzle. And then the next song after it is another one that I love called Moratorium. I saw them do Moratorium on a live video where they did it at a concert in Japan somewhere. And when I saw that version of it live, I was like, that is a great song. And I've been a big fan of Moratorium ever since then. But I don't think they've done it lately. And sadly, it's not on this list. But still, Puzzle making the entry is a good one to have on there. After that is Secret My Lips. Great song. Good banger. Play. I Can't Live Without You. Now, obviously, they got to throw on a Miku song, and they only did one Miku song, so it's interesting that they actually did Rockin' Me. So I'm curious, Alan, what you think about the
For one
inclusion
that's
of Rockin'
sad, they
Me
should just
on their
put
best of.
both of them on there. But
No,
of course,
Sayonaki Dori.
is it? Yeah, that should have been on there for sure. And it's funny. I just listened to Rock Me yesterday. I was listening to World Domination. I've been listening to that album a lot. I still have. I think I said this a few months ago. It's like the only Band-Maid album I've been listening to on car. But I don't know. I think they should just put both on there because I think they're both great. And Sayonaki Dori.
It's hard though because they do have so many songs to choose from.
Maybe they didn't do that since Sayonaki Dori got an acoustic version. Maybe since they already had some different iterations of it. Maybe that's why.
I like Rockin' Me better, honestly. I personally prefer it. So if they're going to choose only one Miku song, I'm glad
Rockin' Me is great, but
Sayonaki
Sayonaki Dori to me is better written song. I think it's a better written song, Sayonaki Dori.
To each their own.
Because
imagine it was tough for them to decide as well.
Yeah.
How many songs are left?
Rockin' Me is very straightforward. That's a very straightforward written song.
Next up, after that's Screaming, Blooming. Probably one of their, and then the next one after that's Rene, which was one of their fastest tempo songs, I think, at that time until Black Hole passed it up. But still, pretty good, fast power kind of rock song. And then another fan favorite, No God, which they played.
It's getting heavier towards the end.
Yeah. Well, this is you kind of see a sort of pattern here. And then lastly, Afterlife, Manners, and then another favorite of mine, Coralium, right? Coralium. Yeah. I always mess that up.
I think that's one of my favorite. That's in my top 3 Band-Maid songs. I think Coralium. I absolutely love that one. It's also my buddy who I took to their show, where he heard them for the first time. He said that Coralium is far and away his favorite Band-Maid song too.
Isn't it insane how they've written so many great songs? Like where they can have 30 songs on their greatest hits in their just from 10 years of being together.
What do you guys think is the in your mind, what is the biggest missing song from that list?
Sayonakadori.
In addition to that, like I was saying about Moratorium, but I can understand the inclusion of Puzzle instead of that one. But I really like Moratorium from that Just Bring It album.
I think they should put Black Hole on there. Not even necessarily because I think it's their best song, or not even one of their best songs necessarily, but because it showcases a side of them that they don't often do, and it's full of like technical progression and heavy riffs, and it's just cool, you know. Like it doesn't sound like their other songs, so I would have had it on there specifically for that.
Of course, if they did those two, Black Hole and Sayonakadori. Even I struggle with that one. Those would have been from the Unseen World. So maybe I think the reason why they went with some songs that they did was was another way of saying, hey, if you like this, go back and check some of our other catalog, because Unseen World, great release.
Could have put the whole album on this.
Yeah, I'm dropping Afterlife if I have to. I'm dropping Afterlife out there, and I'm replacing it with Black Hole.
I think Konami has,
did you say Warning was on there?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't need Afterlife. If you already have Warning and Manners on there, I don't need Afterlife. Put Black Hole on there.
It seems like Afterlife has a special place in Konami's heart because, like, that's the one she said she was most excited to see people cover and try to play, and I think she just really loves it. Is really proud of it.
Okay,
that's another one I really like. Yeah, I really like Afterlife. I think it was kind of underappreciated when it came out.
Wait, what was on the
banger?
Was there anything off the new album?
Oh
no, nothing really. Well, that's the other thing too. Nothing here from the last EP.
Interesting.
I wonder if because they're bigger now, they're trying to introduce some of their older music to super new fans, because
it definitely
they've grown a lot this past year.
It definitely seems like there's like they're definitely trying to push some of their old music with inclusion of stuff like Shake That. I mean, they want to make sure that stuff doesn't get lost.
Well, to new fans, yeah, absolutely. To new fans, I would highly recommend, if you were wondering where to get in with Band-Maid, this is it. Watch for this one when it drops on August 2nd, and you can get it from all the major retailers out there, Tower Records, Amazon, CD Japan as well. So be sure to get that one on pre-order. I know I will.
Do you know if this is exclusive to physical or if it will be on streaming?
The article doesn't say, and so typically on something like this, I would expect that they would be more pushing towards the physical. We'll have to see if there's any updates on streaming services, unless anybody in chat knows. But right now, this looks like it's mostly going to be driven towards the physical sales.
I guess that makes sense, because people could just make a playlist of all these songs if they want it on streaming.
Yeah, right. It's all about that. It's probably going to come with some kind of like cool insert also, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say they got to be including something else, probably some special edition kind of thing that goes with it. So it's 2 volumes, right? So it's like a 2 CD thing, or
right? So it'll be 2 CDs, and each retailer will have their own item to go with it. Some are TBD, to be determined. Others, like CD Japan, are going to have an A3 size poster. So just checking back to see which version you want to get from which
I wonder what like if they're gonna remaster the old albums so that they sound so that the whole album kind of sounds the same. You know what I mean? Like when they do like Shake That, if they would like remaster that song to fit it onto the discography in better, like, newer quality, something like that.
Yeah,
I wonder if they'll go through that.
Hard to say, because what we usually get from other bands that I've noticed, other J-rock bands that do a best of, they really typically don't do much remastering. They may correct something if there was something wrong in the last master that was obvious, but most of the time they just straight copy and put in the last cut. So
All right, the one thing they should really do is put the live version of Freedom on there instead of the recorded version. Put the live version of Freedom and Domination on there. It is so much better.
I'm actually surprised they don't have any concert versions on this. I thought they would like to make it even more special to get this. I thought they would put live songs from various concerts on there that maybe not released on streaming platforms. That's what I normally see with like best of albums. They'll have like a couple of them, you know, at the end or something. So I'm kind of shocked that there's nothing like that on there.
Do they have any live albums besides the acoustic one?
It's the only one I'm aware of is the last year's acoustic.
That'd be cool to get a full like live.
It would be cool, and it also shows you how in tune Band-Maid is with the YouTube community and how much it actually means to them that they do exclusively put this stuff on YouTube, where that's the only place that you can really get it.
Yeah, true. Comes out 4 days before we all meet each other in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's like they knew. They said, "Hey, let's get this out there for the Gaijin guys to buy."
Got to get our copies and bring them, like throw them on stage, get them signed.
So it looks like on
I
here,
don't advocate that.
A bonus that they have here is a benefit sticker, Tower Records version. And then I don't know what that means exactly. Do you know what that means? You get a mega jacket plus purchaser benefit sticker for the Amazon version. So yeah, every place has their own thing. One place is giving away a poster, A3 size poster, Neo Wing CD Japanese version. That's interesting.
Gotta buy them all.
Yeah. So that means you have to go and buy 9 copies of this album from different retailers so you can get all these.
Band-Maid fan.
If you're a true fan, we'll buy from all of these distributors.
That's it. That's how they get you.
Everything's on the Band-Maid website, guys, if you're interested on who is adding what to it. So you can see that their price and everything.
So when did you decide you were coming to Minneapolis, champ?
We talked about it last week on the podcast.
Oh, I've only done half of it so far.
You'll get there. You're just a week behind. It's okay.
I just found out today when we were in Zoom, so I'm pretty excited.
I want to thank once again Tim for sending me a ticket so that I could go to meet up with you guys. Very appreciated.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, good on you.
Did you have anything so what was Akane's letter about? Did you get a chance to go through that?
Yes, I did. It's was a very interesting message from Akane. For those of you who are part of the fan club, you know they send out a newsletter. It was kind of surprising because she talked about the recent activities with their tour here in America and how the band members just really sort of kind of come together. What really stood out to me, and again, I'm sort of getting the rough translation here, but what I picked up on it was how when they come to America, or just when they travel overseas, it's almost like they're acting like kids again. You know, they feel like they're elementary school kids going on a field trip. They have a lot of fun together. They exercise together. They went swimming and, you know, eating American food and all this kind of stuff. So it was interesting to kind of pick up on how when they come over here, they just seem to just sort of get into a different sort of mindset. And I think for those of you that you remember when we would see them, we would notice how like each time they come over and perform for us, you know, it feels like they've gotten more relaxed, they got more confident, more comfortable with themselves, and I think they just really had a really good time on this last trip. So yeah, there's sources out there for getting better translations of the newsletter, but yeah, be sure to check that out. Also see SJ Nix is in the chat, so also check out the Made News Network to get even more Band-Maid news.
Yeah, of course. All Band-Maid. All day,
Along
every
with
day.
that, I was just watching YouTube last night, Band-Maid live performances, and I watched one from, I think it was Nashville. And is that the one where they were bowling? They were just having such a blast on stage and having, you know, really enjoying themselves. And then I watched a video from 2021, the Manners Black Hole video, and I just for the first time realized this huge contrast where they look sad and like they're not into the music at all while they're playing in 2021 because it was COVID. There was no audience. And now like this new tour, like last year's tour was a little rough because Konami was really exhausted, but this tour, like Ryan was talking about, they seem like they're just so on fire, so passionate about the music, and just excited to be back on the road, connecting with the fans.
They probably learned from it, right? They learned from the first tour, and they're like, okay, now now we know what to do for this next tour to make sure we're all at like optimum health, and they just get into it. Because guys, when you're performing live, you feed off the crowd. You really do. You feed off the crowd, and that's really important, I think. It's really rough when you don't have a crowd to feed off of. It just feels weird.
Yeah, that show. I mean, like I feel like the first time that I watched it, I think I commented on just like they just don't look like they're enjoying this at all, and it is sad to go back and like at this point I can't go back and watch shows from that era. I can't go back and watch wrestling from that era anymore either without the crowd in the background. Like it's depressing to see. You know, while we were in it, it was like kind of depressing. Now it's like, God, I'm so happy that is over. And they came out of that shit and they just went on tour to America for the first time. Like straight up, they were like, okay, COVID is almost over. We're going to America. We're gonna go as hard as we possibly can. Now they've like Alan said, they've learned from the first experience. Now they know how to maintain their health physically and mentally, I'm sure, better on this second one. They know how to, you know your limits now. You have to find your limits in order to be able to work around them. That's what they had to do on the first tour.
Got to shout out the fan base too. Like that show, it looked like there were steps that went right up into the bowling alley, weren't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was at bowling Brooklyn Bowl over here in Nashville. Yeah, so that's something that is unique to that particular franchise. And here in Nashville, yeah.
I thought it was muted.
During Miku's Manji time, the members, the rest of the band, just kind of walked over there and they just threw down a couple of pins, knocked over a couple of pins bowling. So yeah, it was very amusing and typical Band-Maid, always having fun no matter where they're at.
Yeah, it was funny to see Miku like trying to keep the audience attention while the other members were right there, because like just the respect the fan base has to not like go try to swarm them when they're right there, and respect the show. It's really cool to see.
That's awesome.
That's true. It wasn't very barricaded, was it? Just like a little bit higher.
Yeah, the bowling alley is just right there next to where the audience stands, and so you could walk over and bowl if but they usually turn off the lanes when a main headline comes on. It's kind of tough for like an opening act, I think, because they keep the lanes open. So I've seen other bands there, and I feel bad for the opening act because people will be over there bowling while the support acts are doing their thing. And I'm kind of like, come on, people,
Yeah, I hear
so
that.
loud.
It's like when you go to play at a bar and there's like people playing darts and like hanging out at the bars, and there's like 4 people watching your band actually play.
Yeah.
No pins were harmed during the show.
Did they miss them all? Oh, apparently they missed them all.
Someone posted it to YouTube and they just called it Miku's gutterball time. I don't remember what it was.
Gutterball maids.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. But they came up on the stage and they told Miku they all got gutterballs, so
nice.
It's fine.
All right, guys, we're gonna get into some quick Japanese music news here, and we're gonna talk about K-Rock and stuff here. We have a special thing that we're passing out today to members and Patreon supporters as a thank you to you all. Do you want to show them what it is that they could be winning today, Andrew?
Yeah, I have it right here. This is from a K-Rock band that we've been getting a lot of interest in. They're called Rolling Quartz. A lot of you guys I know have bumped into a couple of you guys at the Rolling Quartz concert down there in Dallas. And one of our Patreon supporters bought this for someone who may win it.
Aw.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so if you're a member and Patreon supporter, of course, you're entered in twice. So thank you to everybody that support us. We wouldn't be able to keep doing this how we're doing it and keep expanding it like we have been. Hopefully we have some, well, not hopefully, we have some really exciting news later on in the year that we've been working on. As you guys know, we have a website where you can go check out now, gaijinguys.com, and you can sign up for our newsletter. It's only going to be about 1 email a week. Don't worry, we're not going to spam you. or anything like that. It'd be 1 to 2 a week, just keeping you updated on news that Andrew's doing reports on, and we're working on expanding that to getting out more like newsletters and stuff like that set up on the site where you can keep up to date with the news before we talk about it on Sunday. So, because as you know, a lot of these articles happen through the week, and then we kind of put it together and we talk about today. And I'm really excited about all these changes coming through too. So, as a thank you to all of you,
Fired?
we'll be sending it out. Why would you be fired, Wade?
You're making improvements to the show.
Yeah. That's sad, Wave. Don't do that to yourself. We love you. It wouldn't be this show without you.
Oh, thanks.
All right. So we got some quick news I wanted to go over, and we'll get to the K-Rock stuff. So something I didn't realize, Dai from Pale Dust actually helped produce the new Bring Me the Horizon song. I didn't even realize there. So he's credited for that new song. I still have to check it out. Apparently it went to like a heavier sound, but I thought it was interesting that there's some crossover there that I didn't know was happening on it. And I realized how many people are behind some of these Bring Me the Horizon songs. There's a lot of people that are part of the production and making of the songs. So I thought that was pretty interesting with that. We're gonna get to J-Rock news here in a second, but Asterism is coming to the US, guys. They're gonna be in LA on July 1st. They'll be in LA at the Anime Expo, so it's Los Angeles Convention Center. There will be also live in Santa Ana, which the observatory, and that starts at 8 p.m. California time, I'm assuming, or where's that? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then also they're going to be playing in New York City on July 11th also, and the time start is 8 p.m. and the venue is SOB. Champ, are you going to go? Is that kind of close to you?
Where is it?
New York
It's
City?
New York City.
I've never heard of SOBs before. I mean, I love the name of it. That might intrigue me enough.
Is that the Oyster Bar?
I
Oh,
have no
maybe.
clue.
Yeah.
Salty's Oyster Bar or something?
Wow. You know more about New York than I do, bro.
Oh, no, there's one in Florida. So, I don't know if it's the same place.
What state is LA? I'm pretty sure we said California. Right?
California gets everything.
They do.
Yeah.
They get everything.
Well, it's
They have like
interesting.
5 major cities.
It's interesting because we got California and then we got New York. Where hey, who knows if those shows go really if those shows are really successful, they might add more shows. So guys, if you love Asterism, you want them to come back. The goal is to get as many people there to support them, and then they will come back. You know, they're probably just testing the waters. I know they've been here before, but I'm really interested to seeing some of these recordings since we have vocals now. You know, with we're doing vocals on the songs, and I like the new EP. I think the new EP is good.
Yeah.
And other bands, whenever they, when tickets sell out fast to a venue, they'll upgrade or they'll add an additional night. So we've seen that. So it's definitely possible. Asterism is one of those bands. They kind of like Band-Maid. They've come over here a couple of times before, and they do pretty well. So I think we'll be seeing some more things from them as well.
Yep. Petit Brahmin Khan, I always mispronounce this. This is Rio's other band from Darren Gray teases music video Kodu. I think I said that right. From highly anticipated EP. I'm excited to hear it. I wonder if it's going to be, it sounded heavier from what I've heard so far, but they have an upcoming EP that's going to be releasing in June 14th, 2023. Brace yourselves for a thrilling sneak peek at the music video for Kodu, the lead track on Automata, I think is how you say it. First album and preceding the release, Fetish, made waves into powerful new metal vibes. That's right. Yes, it had a lot of new metal vibes in that track. So I'm excited to hear how it goes. I want some good heavy stuff to come out, you know. Acme had a really good show over here at the Anime Convention Center. It's called Anime Detour in Minneapolis that they did. And I forgot that they were here, and I really wish I saw a show because I know Eric and I from the Codec have done reactions to Acme, and we enjoyed a lot of the songs. I always remember them as the Orange Band because they had oranges in one of the music video that we checked out. And we liked it a lot. But Acme bore the honor of being Anime Detour's first ever Visual K guest from Japan. With a full year's notice, fans had ample time to prepare for Acme's highly anticipated appearance at Anime Detour 2023. Anyone in chat go to that? Anybody? Let me know.
I've
Acme
never
fans,
heard of that before. It's
yeah,
in
me neither.
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, yep. Some of them came from different countries, even as far as Germany. for Acme fans. So that's pretty dedicated fan base coming from all over to go see them there. And I have a feeling they're probably a great band live, and is one of those bands that I think I would like more if I saw them live.
Well,
I
as
really
a matter
hope
of
to catch
fact, I
them.
did see them live in LA a while back. They opened up for an artist known as Demon Dice, and she brought them over. And yeah, they were something else. They really kicked it. So really happy and excited for Acme getting more exposure. They are definitely one to watch. Yeah, so I mean, you've reacted to them, so you know they got some pretty awesome.
What was a
stuff.
memorable moment from the show that you remember? Do you remember a specific moment you're just like, holy crap?
No big moments. I kind of got in late, so they'd already started most of their set, but I did hear Bring Me Back to You. It's a really awesome song, worth checking out. But they just were able to sort of come into a venue where they were practically unknowns, and they were able to hold on to this crowd. So
That's cool.
yeah, they are really doing very well. So excellent.
Yeah,
Nice.
they've been popping up, so I'm curious what they're gonna do next. It seems like they're gaining a lot of traction. It might be I know is the Gazette. I was researching this for a while and I couldn't figure it out because the Gazette has one more show for their tour, Mass. It's in Japan, and do you think that band is ending? I almost get these vibes. I couldn't find anything definitive on it, but because it's called The Final, I don't know if they called it that just because it's the last show of the tour or whatnot. But Acme seems like a good like predecessor after the Gazette. You know, it's the band that I got my buddy Joey in because he's a huge Gazette fan. He likes Acme also.
I don't want to upset any of the Gazette faithful out there. I don't think there's anything official. But typically, well, the thing too, when they use the word final, they usually just means the final show of that particular tour.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Gazette is one of those. They're kind of like one of the OGs. They've been around a long time, along with Duran Gray. I don't think they're going anywhere, but they do seem to be a little less active. They did come over to the United States before COVID a couple of times. Right now, it looks like they're sort of just more focused internally in Japan. And I think it's a matter of a question to just sort of wait and see if they are going to ramp up their activities or if they're just going to kind of host or something else. You never know. You know, sometimes it's just the way it is with these bands. If they feel like the creativity is starting to fade, they may kind of put things aside. But I don't know. Gazette's just one of those. They've sort of just been one of those solid sort of bands that just sort of I mean, I think we see this every now and then. You know, you got a band that gets really popular and then they just kind of coast, or they do shorter songs like a certain group you're a fan of that does 1 minute songs now.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, we're talking about today. They have an article. But I gotta say, the Gazette's album Mass. Guys, if you don't like Visual Kei that much, I still recommend this album because I remember checking out this entire album. And it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
it was a good album. Like it's my opinion, their best album. Like it was like they just hit something perfectly on this one, and it was just great. And like if this does end up being like one of the final albums they do for a very long time, it is a hell of an album to end with. I thought it was really great. And this now it's almost like was this like a year and a half ago when I checked this out? I was in New York and Joey and I checked it out on a stream. We listened to the whole album live on Twitch. And it was just great. It was such a good album. Any Gazette fans out there? I don't think we have many Gazette fans in the chat, but I think it's worth checking out for Visual Kei. And Acme, my point was like Acme's a really good band in kind of the same vein that I think could take over that film very well. We have news from Fuki had a single that I didn't realize dropped for a show. It's called Metropolis Dogangers, I think is the name of it. Taste of Early Lightbringer for under 12s. I'm not sure what that part means, but that was her other project, right? Lightbringer. So I think they just mentioned it in just that top part right there. So for singers who's rarely paused for breath at any point since the mid 2000s, 4 years since Unlucky Morpheus and Lightbringer vocalist Fuki released anything under her own name, Anyway, this comeback is sort of sees like Fuki broadening her portfolio and ties up venturing into a live action television for the first time. And it was like a pop rock, I think, pretty much. We're gonna react to it after this, right? Champ is more. It sounded pretty good. From the little
Yep, this
taste
is
I
our
had of it.
Patreon reaction today.
Yeah, so we're gonna be reacting to this after the podcast. I can't wait to check it out. I didn't even realize she was releasing stuff, you know. And honestly, I wonder when we'll get another Unlucky Morpheus album too. That's in the works in any time. We have a new digital single from Crystal Lake. Metalcore band Crystal Lake will release their first single featuring new vocalists. Because remember, they lost their vocalist. We talked about that earlier this year. So they have new vocalist John, and they're going to be releasing a track with him digitally worldwide on February 23rd. I'm looking forward to checking that out and breaking it down. I really can't wait to hear that song. They're a really heavy, really good metalcore band.
We actually announced this one last week.
Announcing it again. I didn't realize it was with a new I forgot they got a new vocalist. Hanabiye is releasing a new single, Tosu. It's coming out on June 17th, 2023. And this will be with the new drummer, it seems like.
Sweet.
After joining Chica, the first sound source is completed. I don't know if that means it has to mean that she's on it, right? I'm assuming this is a rough translation.
Got a special mention in there.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really fast. Do you think maybe she was prepping beforehand? Maybe they knew she was leaving and they already had her in the works or something?
So they
Maybe.
waited longer to announce it before they actually knew, or
Yeah.
after they actually knew.
Yeah, I doubt it was like the same day job.
Yeah. Fuki just did a birthday stream for like 4 hours. Yeah, her birthday was just recently also. Forgot her birthday's in June too.
Her voice is amazing. I just love listening to her, no matter what band she's in.
Same.
Don't see a lot of solo stuff from her, so that was interesting that she's doing a solo piece now. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that one because I just love her voice so much.
It's
I
so
didn't
funny
know.
hearing that come from this box on the screen, because usually this box on the screen is the anti-Fuki box.
Oh,
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Ryan Muir.
Ryan. Oh, Ryan. yeah.
Ryan is usually in
Oh.
Andrew's box, and he didn't like Fuki's vocals.
Okay, it took me.
Wow, I didn't think that was going to be so confusing. I'm sorry.
Box.
Even though I'm filling in for Ryan, I may not quite share all of his opinions.
No, it's nice. It's nice to get a difference in there.
I mean, I did the Band-Maid news like Ryan,
Yeah.
and I got my Band-Maid stuff on. But
Scott Miller, thank you so much for a reminder. New Gakruk album too next month as well.
Yes.
new song from them.
Which we kind of knew because of that new single that they released. When are they going to announce the winner of that? Does anyone remember?
They were supposed to. I thought they were supposed to have that information out there already. I don't know if we might have missed that, or as to who won the reaction.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've released 2 songs since
Yeah,
then.
they
too.
they have had one come out 4 days ago called Replica.
Is it a music video to it, or is it just like the track?
Yeah, official music video. Replica. I got it pulled up right here.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
why did that like
Haven't
go
seen
under the
that yet.
radar?
It didn't. We're announcing it now.
Oh,
4 days
And
ago.
they,
okay.
they've
Yeah, that's
also
right.
released a live video of one of their new songs. The Come Up chapter.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Hannah and Tomozo going back and forth on guitar was pretty sweet.
Okay,
Cool.
so is this
I
like
want to see
a
that.
anime kind of thing, cartoon for this?
No, it
new-
looks like she's live action in her hand, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a combination of.
guys. I
Special
think we should
effects.
react to this for Patreon also. Next.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
I've
check
been
What do you
it
wanting
guys
out.
to
think in
hear
the
that.
chat? You want this to be the reaction?
Yeah, there you go. Do you guys
All
want
right,
this to
Patreon
be the-
members? Oh.
All right. So that's really cool. Are they doing the same kind of competition with this new music video?
No.
No.
Not
I
that
didn't
I've seen,
realize
no.
they only have 50,000 subs for the channel. Go subscribe to Gakruk Spin. I thought they were much higher
Yeah.
than that. Did not even realize that.
They're
Realize
way
that at all.
underrated
Yeah.
for as long as
Yeah.
they've been around.
Like every
Say
Japanese
that.
rock band is underrated.
And what was I gonna say? Forgot. Oh, we talked about that. I lost my. Lonesome Blue had to change their website. For those who didn't know, they changed it to lonesomeblue.jp. Case. Now we're gonna talk about Maximum Hormone. They're selling more stuff again, guys. No music, but you can. What do they say?
Give
I
them
thought
money.
this. You can make your room more hormonal. You can give it more of a hormonal boost by buying more stuff, not by listening to new music by them. No, by getting posters and more merch. You get the special
hey,
pulp paper poster.
If not for them, we wouldn't have Akane as our drummer for Band-Maid. So
That's the only reason why I'm still
eternally
willing to talk
grateful for
about
that.
them. It's the only reason why I'm willing to talk.
I mean, at some point, we're just gonna have to start admiring their business acumen,
So I
as
gotta
they
see-
just they don't have to work anymore, and they just keep selling new shit.
So I gotta ask everyone. This goes to you too, chat. You let me know. All right. If you have a band you love so much, right? Because normally when a band just stops releasing music, you don't hear about them. They don't do new merch. They don't. Avenged Sevenfold, great example. Been like, what, 7 years since an album, but they weren't really trying to put out new merch and all that stuff, right? Throughout the week. I think they might have had some things, but not really, right? But Maximum the Hormone, imagine your favorite band, okay? One of your favorite bands. They stopped putting out music, but they still periodically every month release merch for the next 7, 8 years. How would you feel about that?
I thought you were gonna say months.
that is, yeah.
No, this would drive me crazy, honestly.
So Band-Maid,
If I were
Band-Maid,
you.
7 years, no music. You just get new Band-Maid merch every month.
I would
Every month.
eventually. I'm gonna say it. I would eventually think they sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wave, what do you think?
Well, yeah. If the reason you like them is because they make music, and if they stop making music but still trying to keep making more money off of their fans, it's like, you know, you still appreciate them for their old music, but like, put some more effort in, guys.
Yeah. Guys,
know?
guys, I love Maximum Hormone. Obviously, like somebody mentioned, I'm wearing this shirt, you know, and I got this when I was discovering them. That was just one of the first bands I discovered on the Dichotic channel. You can follow our journey for all that, guys. It was crazy. It was a really awesome, like, falling in love with the band. I never thought I'd be able to capture me falling in love with a band, like, from start to finish. Maximum Hormone was one of them, along with, like, Baby Metal and Band-Maid also that came afterwards. So, like, I liked them so much. I remember, like, third reaction, I'm like, I'm buying so much merch. I got the purple one of these, and I got tons of Maximum Hormone shirts. I have so many CDs right behind me with them, and you know, I was so excited. So I think once I finished the catalog, you know, and then you just realize they're not putting out anything, it's like, fuck.
Well,
You know?
maybe I can be devil's advocate because there could also be the possibility there could be an upside. For example, maybe by selling merch and continuing to sell new merch, maybe they're just trying to get some initial startup money, some investment money, so that they can ramp something up again. So I can understand from a fan's perspective, it's like, oh, they're just trying to shake me down for money.
Let me push
But
back.
maybe they want to, come back. 'Cause sometimes we do see these bands, like you just mentioned with Avenged Sevenfold, they go away and then they come back.
Yeah, that's why I want
Like
to see
Jeff
your guys'
mentioned, they're still
perspective.
gigging.
Yeah, they are still gigging. I don't care though. Band-Maid's still gigging too, and we're still getting new music from them. Anyways, but what I want to say, is the thing that really bothers me, the thing that really pisses me off, is that they release 2 1-minute songs that are like the most badass 60 seconds you'll ever hear, and then that's it. You get 2 1-minute songs. Like, at least give us the full song. Like, I would have been completely happy if they were just full singles. You know what I mean? Like, even if it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds, whatever. You know, just give me the 2 songs.
That's a full song these days.
I mean, true. Good point.
But I mean, songs keep getting shorter. Maybe 1 minute will be a full song someday.
I can't get behind it. I'm sorry. Can you guys get behind 1-minute songs? Fuck that. I really can't. Oh.
How long has it been? Like, since they released an actual like EP?
I think 2016. Yeah.
So the only issue, like, I don't. It would start to bother me too, because I think when you become a fan of a band and you start buying their merch, you're kind of like, it feels like an investment. You know, you're buying their merch with the expectation that they're going to release music in the future also, right? Like, just because, you know, if you become a fan of something, you don't just want it to exist in that one time capsule or whatever. You think that it's going to continue going on, right? But how many albums did they release before that 2016 album? Was it a lot?
I think it was correct me if I'm wrong. I can't even remember. I have it behind me.
Yeah, they were fairly regular in what they put out there, like a lot of commercial acts, and Yeah, they've sort of
'cause
just
if they-
dropped off.
If they have like 8 albums, 10 albums, I mean, they had a career already. You know what I mean? Like at some point you might start to wind it down. And at that point, you're probably not just going to stop selling merch. You know what I mean? So if they're on the wind down of their
This is
career,
how much I like them, guys. Look at all Max from the
Holy crap.
Hormone.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
and then they just
I
stop.
I think you're right, Champ. I think they're just kind of in like that wind down phase where they probably feel like they've burned through a lot of their creative energy, and so these 1-minute songs are like that's just the best they can do right now. Maybe
yeah, they might just not be in the part of their career anymore where they're going to regularly release music. Like they might, they're not coming out and saying, "Hey, we're done," but because they might come out with another album, but they haven't promised that they're going to come out with another album either. So I get the frustration. I do, because I would want, especially since you discovered them later than the beginning of their career, right?
Yeah.
So if you discover a band towards the end of their career, it's going to be even harder to deal with.
I'm
right?
going to say this, because of Max from the Hormone, I wait now.
Well, it gave you patience.
I wait. No, before I go buy merch or anything or like fall in love with a band, I wait now before getting any merch, because you never know what could happen. You know what I mean? But I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just caught up in the moment when we first started the channel. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I finally have a new favorite band. It's been years since I had a favorite band. And I was so excited at the time. And then I'm like, oh, what now? Now
and they're
Max
like,
Hormone.
we already released 10 albums. We don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, Andrew said, maybe they're just not feeling inspired to write new music at this point because they've kind of accomplished everything they wanted to. Because a lot of that fuel for writing and inspiration comes from life and from having aspirations and stuff.
But I will say, but for Alan's side here, I would say I would appreciate if that band would give some sort of like update at some point, like if they're gonna make new music, like if we should be waiting for them to release
busy
something
eating
ever
food.
again.
But the thing is, the minute songs they release weren't like, they're okay. No, they're fucking great. Like it was like 60 seconds of awesomeness, and I'm just like, so they still have it. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
They're just letting you down easy.
Yeah.
The next song's gonna be 30 seconds of pure
it's gonna get
amazing awesomeness.
It's gonna be shorter and shorter until then they just stop.
All right.
Numbers are around 50.
I promise, guys, I will never
they're up
talk
there.
about this again until they release new music. Okay, I'm done. I'm done talking about it.
Well,
I know I've
Then
bitched
we
about
might
this
not ever
enough.
talk about it again.
Yep.
To be a bit of optimistic though, is when you do look at a lot of the Japanese bands, some of them have real staying power, loudness, celebrating over 40 years. Anthem still puts out new stuff. So Shoya is still doing their concerts that they do every year that helps promote the younger ladies coming up in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say it's probably MTH is probably just winding down for a little bit, and then when they start to feel it again, they know they got the power to do it. They'll probably just come roaring back when we won't even expect it. We'll they'll throw something new at us, some big heavy 4-minute long song, and I'm looking like, where did this come from? So
Yeah.
I think they just need a little bit of time.
Yeah. And I was just looking this up, man. They've been around since 1999. Like that. If their last album was in 2016, then that's a 17-year career. I'm not saying that is their last album. I'm just saying if it was, that's still a pretty good chunk of your life to dedicate to that type of music. Like they're already at this point where you could probably consider them as like the legendary Maximum the Hormone.
But that's the
Especially
thing
with
is
the energy they brought during those 17 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, I understand that. But then why release these 60 seconds badass songs? These two.
Because that's all they feel like doing anymore. I guess they're just like, we already did 3-minute songs, man. We don't want to do that anymore.
Well, look at the chat.
I get it, man. I would be frustrated too. But I'm just saying they might have had their career and now they're done with it.
Well, I mean, a member in the chat here, Gordon Bell, brought up a good point. Some of them have families that they're working on and want to focus on. So maybe they're probably just taking some time off to do. Be more with their family.
Yeah, and they are still playing shows. It's not like they're not performing at all. I guess just the writing part.
Okay,
maybe they need some new inspiration.
Yeah,
Now
imagine
just had
this.
a baby.
Imagine this. You're gonna get together. Okay, guys. I understand all these points very well. But okay, imagine you're a band, right? You're like, all right, cool. Let's get together and write 2 new songs. We're only gonna work on it for a minute. We're only gonna record a minute-length song. We're gonna meet up. That's all the time we have is to do a minute. You can't even stretch it to 2:30 or something. You know, that's all I'm saying. They got together to do the 2 tracks.
I hear
did a
ya.
minute of songs, and then one of them got a phone call that the baby had to get a warm bottle.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the way I see it is, why, like, you could force yourself to stretch it out by like copying and pasting it and making it twice as long, or you could just give it the best you can for 1 minute. I don't mind 1 minute songs, because now when I look at YouTube analytics of songs I post, people watch like the first third and then it drops down to like
Well, that's
30%
normal.
retention, you know?
That's like any
People
video.
have short attention spans these days.
That's
It's true. It is more likely to listen to the whole minute.
Okay, but when they drop off on your songs, I mean, that's just because a lot of it is
'Cause
when
my
people
song
click
sucks.
on it and then they I don't know. Anyways, moving on. We're gonna go to the K-Rock segment, and we're gonna start off with announcing the winner of the Rolling Quartz towel that Andrew is giving away. And then shout out to David, I believe, who donated this over to us.
Yes.
Patreon supporter. Thank you so much, David. We appreciate you so much. And if you are a member or a Patreon supporter, if you're both, you're entered in here twice. So we just want to say we appreciate you all, and we'll be posting up those Patreon reactions. We're going to be doing another Patreon reaction after the stream. So let's go ahead and announce a winner for this, and we'll get to the K-Rock segment. All right, you ready? Drum roll? Drum roll from the drummer. Wave.
You hear that?
Shortest drum roll ever.
I know that was pretty short. Yeah.
Ran out of breath.
Ran out of breath.
Wow, that was you got to work on that, bro. That was a second and a half.
All
I know,
right.
my lung capacity's gone way down.
That sucks. I didn't mean to blast. We might have to block that out. Blast that email. I don't know why it wasn't on that. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, it looks like they're all emails.
Yeah, they're all emails. So something went wrong here, guys. I am so sorry. We'll come back to that. Let's go do the K-Rock segment, and then why were those email? That was a mistake on my part, and I truly apologize for that. But I think everyone's here. Well, we're gonna make this video private afterwards and repost later, so I'll take that out. Main video. Sorry about that.
Well, he's the winner.
Yeah. Congrats to the winner.
That guy.
That
That guy's the winner.
post. Congratulations to the winner.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Congratulations, winner.
Well, I didn't see it already, so we'll probably have to
The
roll
winner
it
is you.
again. I don't know who it was, but I just didn't want to have
I saw it. It's on the video.
on the video. Well, remember it, because I'm gonna making this private right afterwards. So I'm sorry. Well, congratulations to you. Hit me up on Discord, or we'll send you an email now. Obviously, damn, I don't know how I
We
did
will
that. I feel so stupid right now. I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
We'll
So
send you an
sorry.
email. We have your email.
Okay, cool. Champ will email you. Anyways, moving on. K-Rock, let's go.
Okay, so there's no K-Rock news.
Oh, okay.
That's cool about this segment, right? The one piece of K-Rock information that I have is DIH dropped their cover of "You Give Love a Bad Name" 2 days ago.
Bon Jovi?
Yeah,
Check
Bon
that.
Jovi song, which
Nice.
is a commonly covered song. I am noticing now. A lot of people like to cover that song. So if you wanna check out DIH, that's a K-Rock group that that's the most recent thing that they've put up.
They is that their second video total? Because they did like,
No, they have a bunch on their channel.
didn't they do Band-Maid covers, or am I getting it confused with another?
There's a bunch of covers on here. There's a Pink cover called "Slut Like You." There's like a "Welcome to the Jungle" cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a
I'm
bunch of stuff
confused.
on here.
They are
So check
really
that
good.
out. I do have K-pop news,
Mhm.
which I'll just kind of run through real quick. The first one is what you sent me, Alan, which is that J-Hope's BTS's J-Hope releases, or he well, there's actually 2 pieces of J-Hope news which I will try to put together here. The first one is that he released a surprise rock version of his new single, one of his newest singles, called "Arson," which is pretty cool. I haven't heard the song yet, but I love the idea of him. This song was already had like a guitar in it and was like pretty heavy in comparison to a lot of the other K-pop music out there. So the fact that he rockified it even more might be worth checking out, especially for people that don't listen to K-pop that might want to, find like that sort of avenue, traversing from rock to the pop world, this might be a good starting spot. Like I said, I can't vouch for it because I haven't heard it yet, but conceptually, it's a good idea. And then we got remember the really hot girl that I showed you guys last week on the stream?
Yes.
I already forgot.
Yeah.
Who was it again?
I don't know how you could forget. Jenny Kim from Blackpink.
I was just trying to get you to send the picture again. That's all.
It's still in our Discord. But yeah, so she the new Netflix, I think it's a Netflix series, or maybe it's HBO Max, maybe. New show called The Idol just came out with their first episode last week. It's the Weekend show. You know The Weekend?
Oh yeah,
The pop
the
artist.
singer?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's his show, and Jenny Kim, the girl that I showed you from Blackpink, is actually like one of the actresses on the show, and it got a rousing 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. But
Well,
it
what do
was
they
the
know?
Did Disney make it?
Did Disney make it?
No, apparently it's the opposite of anything that Disney would put out. It's supposed to be pretty dirty. But
Oh,
not only did it get terrible reviews, but it was also the most engaged piece of entertainment in the week on social media. Number one. So terrible reviews, but also everybody watched it. So
who
that
actually
tells you a
trusts?
lot about our world.
First of all, who trusts Rotten Tomatoes out there? Chat? Anyone? I never
I
even
trust
take
them
those
more
serious.
than like IMDb or
I don't
whatever.
trust any of them.
Metacritic.
Yeah, I just go watch YouTube videos about people that review them. I feel those are better
Yeah.
gauges for some reason.
True. Okay, and then I'll run through the last couple things here. EXO is coming out with their new album on July 10th. Twice makes history as the first K-pop girl group ever to sell 1 million albums in the United States.
Wow.
And sort of related to both of those, to K-pop, but more just related to me. Extraordinary Attorney Woo, the K-drama show that I've been watching over on my Patreon, has just been renewed for a second season.
Nice. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I wanted to throw this in when you were talking about the Japanese news, but I forgot to mention it. Hyde from Lark-and-Ciel, is that how you say it? Yeah. He's got a new digital single coming out. So that's something to look forward to. And Polka Dot Stingray 4 days ago came out with a brand new song also
That's
called
right.
Denko Seika.
Nice.
And did they put a music video with that one? Polka Dot Stingray?
Looks like it's a live performance. Yeah,
Doesn't
live
that one
performance,
already
4
have
days
a
ago.
music video? Dan Koseka?
I guess
think
this
it
is
does.
just the live performance
Like
version
it's an
of
older
it.
song, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it's the first thing that they've put out in the last 8 months.
Yeah, because
And,
their last
yeah.
video was this one, because I remember reacting to it. By
Yeah, it's
Polka
been a
Dot
long
Stingray.
time since they put up anything. So yeah, they finally decided to upload something.
Yeah, because they were
Cool.
on it, right? They had a couple songs. But just to close off the K-pop, K-rock segment, did we talk about that article that Andrew put up?
Which one?
I know you're talking about J-Hope. Was this the same thing? J-Hope of BTS banks 100 million with.
Oh, that's what I was looking for, actually.
Yeah.
So why don't you just read it off? What
Andrew,
was the
you
title?
wrote it. You want to read what you wrote?
Yeah, I guess I could read what I wrote.
Story time with Andrew.
Story time with Andrew.
Oh, where'd I put it? All right, yeah. So, this one came up just as sort of my news gathering research, and I saw that J-Hope, with his collaboration song with J. Cole, "On the Street," ticked over 100 million streams on digital platform Spotify, and it's nearing 40 million views on the YouTube channel. So, obviously, a lot of people out there are really digging this song. It's definitely a good one for all the BTS fans, and J-Hope with the way he raps to it, and then J. Cole comes in on the song. Yeah, it's a nice one if you're really into that. But the other thing also that popped up
It was filmed in New York, by the way. They did this whole thing in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because at the end you see the two of them. They kind of a meetup. So in the video, they're in different parts. J-Hope's down like literally on the street. and then J. Cole's up on a rooftop and he's rapping, doing his thing. And then at the end, they have a kind of a meetup so that you can see that they were actually sort of, in the same city. So yeah.
What do you think of the song, Andrew?
I'm trying to be more open to K-pop because I'm such a rock guy. It's usually not my jam. I did like how it flowed. Here's the thing, and I kind of see why a lot of this is so popular with people is that you can. It's so relatable. You even if you're not into it, it's like, yeah, I feel it. The lyrics in the song are about he says, making his moves, walking, and being on the street and still feeling, the energy of like the city, feeling the love. So it's an interesting song, and I can tell how it can speak to a lot of people.
I'll just throw this out there that I was not the hugest fan of that song overall, just as because I really like J-Hope. J-Hope is one of my favorites in the entire genre.
Yeah.
A big fan of him, but I would say again, I'm just going to reiterate what I read before. We should listen to that rock version of his other song to see if that bridges anything for people that are trying to be more open-minded towards the pop world, because that might really do a good job of it.
Well, here's an interesting contrast, and Champ, I really want to get your thoughts on this, is that despite this song doing as well as it has done, obviously what's more interesting is that BTS dropped a new song called Take Two, and some fans are a little bit upset with this particular song because J-Hope only has about 10 seconds of his vocals in this new BTS song. So I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to Take Two yet, but some fans are a little unhappy that J-Hope seems to be getting a little bit of
I haven't heard it yet, but I will say that you just approached K-pop fandom territory for the first time, my friend, which is that you will find this argument come across so many times because so many people have their favorite in the group. You know what I mean? Like they have their bias, is what they call it. It's a bias. And every time one of their guys like just doesn't get that, like there's 7 people in the band. You know what I mean? There's 7 people in the group. It's hard to separate perfectly, symmetrically make it work like that. But I am not surprised that you approached that in your first couple weeks of listening to this music, because it is a constant and it can become very agitating.
Champ, what if it was a minute song?
Oh my God. You can't have 7 people on a minute song. I mean, they'd have to go back and forth word for word.
Fair point.
Don't give them ideas. They may try.
Yeah. Blazing Soul in the comment section just wants to shout out Rolling Quartz and Dreamcatcher. Just want to say we just did a giveaway for Rolling Quartz. But Dreamcatcher is a K-pop group, sort of rock version. But they have Japanese songs, and when they do the Japanese songs, they make them metal, which is a really cool concept. So
yeah,
check
I came
out
across some Dreamcatcher several years ago, and I definitely appreciated what they were doing from the sort of that K-pop, K-rock side. But it's I mean, like the thing about BTS is even your grandparents have probably seen them on some of morning shows. Like friends and family members will come up to me and say, "Hey, I saw this this group on this morning show. Do you ever talk about BTS on that thing you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I know a little bit about BTS because they're like the world's biggest K-pop band right now." So
it's true. My dad, anytime he comes across anything related to BTS, he sends it over to me. He has no idea like what genre it is or any other groups like that, but BTS, he knows them.
Oh, when I tell people that I do Japanese music news, they'll bring up BTS also.
Yeah,
hilarious. They're like, "Oh, so do you talk about BTS?" I'm like, "No." That's K-pop.
Except that sometimes we do now.
Well, now we do. Yeah, but back then I was like, when I would mention the podcast, like, oh, we talk about music related things, but mainly it's Japanese music news and stuff like that. And then they always bring up BTS. I'm like, not quite the same, but now we do. You're right. Yeah. So now
I actually really enjoyed what I've heard from BTS, but I listened to one song and then I haven't really heard any more.
Yeah. We lost Andrew.
Oh, there's a lot of music out there to get through, like we talked about before.
Andrew's battery died. No worries, Andrew. We're prepared. Look at this. We got the chat up here. Oh, all right. So let's go to this top 10. We're going to run through it because we only got a couple minutes left. We didn't get to that other article. We'll talk about next week about the whole fake drum situation going on in the music world. We'll talk about that next week.
I have so much to talk about when it comes to that.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
So
it took us
much.
some
I could have
time.
talked about that for 2 hours straight too.
There's some really good points. We'll get our thoughts collected and together, and we'll have it ready. We won't react to the video. We'll just more like talk about it. I already wrote my notes down for it anyway, so we'll talk about that next week. But let's go through the top 10 real quick. We're gonna just run through it. We have coming in at 10. Wrong chart. Wrong selection here. Asterism US went up 2 spots to number 10 with Saishun Wo. Now, is this more on so they're doing rock in this song. So have you guys heard this song yet? I don't think I've heard this one. But anyways, they're coming at 9. Yoshika, Setting the Sun, coming in the 9th spot, going at 2 spots. Number 8, we have Vondi go down a spot with Such a Bitter Story. I think it's been on charts for a very, very, very long time. It's been here. It would premiere 12 weeks ago, so that's 2 months now. Falling to number 7, we got Yasobi with 17. Number 6, we got Otto going down 2 spots with New Genesis Saturday Super Arena performance. Number 5, we have Queen Bee. Have you guys heard this song yet?
Mephisto
Have you heard this?
from Marvel?
Yeah, it's interesting.
No, I haven't.
It's a very interesting band. You should check it out. We have First Take with Hain, Koshi, and Naba. This is from Bees. Did I say it right?
BZ. I think they say it BZ.
They
What
told me to
is
say
this word,
Bees.
Bees?
Just say it like that because I accidentally used to say it like that too. Number 3, we had Tattoo Official Dism, staying right there at the 3rd spot.
That's official Hige Dandism. So it's interesting.
Hige
They put a little bit of
Dandism.
kanji between the English letters.
Okay. Number 2, we have Malay with Man with a Mission. And then number 1, we have Man with a Mission with Malay.
Still.
And they're staying right there at the 3 spots, top 3 spots. And
Killing it.
that concludes it for today, guys. I'm not sure who won that prize earlier today, but just hit me up on Discord. Champ will send an email out to you, and we'll go from there, and we'll get the address from you to ship it out there. So, I heard the song because Cynical requested it. All right, so I have heard that Asterism US song. Thank you, Cynical. And I can't remember how it sounds for some reason. Anyways, you want to sign us off, Champ? Normal stuff? Yeah.
Sure. If you guys want more of us, which some of you might, a lot of you probably don't, but some of you might, you can go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Gaijin guys, where we do group reactions over there to music that you guys like. And today is going to be, what are we doing today? We're doing Fuki's solo song. So, you can join us over at the $10 tier if you want the most recent reactions, or the $5 tier, which is about 2 weeks behind, to catch up on any of the stuff that you haven't heard from us do yet.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one, all right? We'll see you guys next Sunday. And Ryan should be here with us next Sunday, right? I think he'll be talking about his adventures in Japan. We'll be talking about fake drums plaguing the world of rock and metal and anything else that happens during the week. But those 2 topics are definitely happening for sure. And